All right, so today I'm going to address the inflated stats, the allegations of Michael Jordan's Defensive Player of the Year, things like that. And the funny thing is that I had already started working on this as a reaction video to Uncut Hoops because I thought he did a great job. And then I saw comments saying that I should react to Uncut Hoops video on it. Hey, we agree. I was way ahead of you. And the takeaway isn't so much about trying to defend Michael Jordan. It's to look at the state of today's quote unquote professional sports journalism, and that we've had to turn to independent YouTubers to do a better and more professional job. Here we go. Today I'm doing a reaction video to Uncut Hoops. I watch Uncut Hoops pretty often for specific reasons. He not only provides some visual entertainment, but when he approaches a topic, he gathers what the actual topic is, what the subject matter is, what's wrong with the subject matter, then goes and gets the evidence for the counter argument to what has been provided by the media. That's called doing your homework. That's called providing real substance. I like to think that I do that. I don't always do that, but I do try to do my research and provide the receipts via visual evidence. But every now and then I'm a little lazy or I'm pressed for time and I just do a talking head video. Or you do a reaction video, which means someone else did most of the work for you. The goal is not to criticize different content creators. The goal is to point out that there are different levels to the substance that is put out for people to ingest. And your common YouTubers should not be providing higher content than professionals who are paid by networks to come up with content. And that's why we're going to talk about this clown today. Ooh, Yahoo Sports. Let's take him seriously. Honestly, tell me when that face comes on the screen, you don't think douchebag. Not only could I beat him in basketball right now at my old age, I could beat him in basketball at my old age with one arm and one leg. Of course, your ability to play basketball doesn't mean that that equates to your ability to criticize and analyze basketball, so let's talk about that instead. Because exactly what type of investigative journalism did this guy demonstrate? Uncut Hoops brilliantly compared the sample size used by this guy and how easy it is to counter that argument.
But the big-time major flaw in this article is that Haberstroh's sample size for Jordan having his stats juiced. It's 6 home games out of 41, so roughly 15% of Jordan's home games that season. But even fishier than that, the 6 games Haberstroh chose, they're not on YouTube, the internet. How he found these games, allegedly, was from some guy in Latvia who has them on VHS.
All right, let me stop Uncut right there. We'll get to the exceptionally small sample size that supposedly data revealed that Michael Jordan's career was fraudulent because 6-game data revealed everything you knew about Jordan was a lie. Here's the maybe better question. How does this sort of a journey into finding obscure stats even begin? Yeah, how does he end up finding some dude in Latvia? I mean, he really had to go out of his way to finally find the detrimental information that he was after. How do you start down a path like that? How are you motivated to do something like that? Imagine the resources. Imagine what he could have been working on instead. I mean, were you hired by Klutch Sports? How does something like this even come about?
6 games? 6 games? 6 games? You're unraveling Michael Jordan's legacy, his career, by cherry-picking 6 games, which also Uncut Hoops pointed out can't even be found. Can't even be found. You can't even go and watch them for yourselves. Wow, how convenient to go and choose those games.
If you ask me why he did that, was to provide cover if anyone questioned these games or the stats. Because of course, nobody has access to these games on YouTube or the internet. It's only via VHS from some guy in Latvia. The biggest problem with that 6-game sample size, he's taken those 6 games and applying it to the entire 88 season, and really Jordan's entire career.
And that's the true problem, because whether or not this sports journalist ended up having a good point, the people that want to tear Michael Jordan down didn't bother to ask question number 2 or 3 or 4. They took it and ran with it. You didn't stop to say, I wonder if it's true. I wonder if I could verify that with my own eyes. Nope, you said, oh good, more evidence that helps my fake king LeBron James by diminishing somebody else. Then there's the matter of the statistics themselves and how those statistics are recorded. Or should we say how those who are recording the statistics choose to interpret the definition of how those statistics should be recorded. For example, an assist is clearly not the same as an assist used to be. Steals, again, very questionable. And credit to Uncut Hoops, he looked at the actual steals credited in his own sample size, which he provided actual evidence, visual proof of, and said, you know what, I agree. I would not have included this one as a steal. The other side of that is, well, is that what they consider a steal? Or is this helping out a player? Or is it just a mistake? And all I can tell you is that watching LeBron James has been very confusing in how people record. His assists are absurd. His rebounds, it's clearly designed for him to get rebounds. But the steals, I have so many examples of his teammates tapping the ball away, him being the one who ends up with the ball, and them crediting LeBron James with a steal, as was the case here with Michael Jordan. I think it's unfortunate that I can't just jump straight to analyzing Jordan's games and LeBron's James. We still have to figure out whether or not these were mistakes by the stat keepers or if this is what they actually think is a steal, because the definitions, the rules, just leave it a little bit up to interpretation. Here's what I can tell you for a fact. Those of you who want to lift LeBron by diminishing Jordan, go and look through an entire career to find a few examples to try and help your argument. You know what I do? Randomly choose a game, blindfold me. I'll point to one, put it on the screen, and you will find that BS happening for LeBron James. Anytime, any season. Home game, away game, playoff game, regular season game. Pick the game yourself. Hand it to me. Like with the LeBron James, it's so exhausting that I don't even consider it a worthwhile topic to point out all of the bullshit stats that he's gotten, because I would never get done. I mean, you're talking about going through every single game of the season and having multiple examples per game. That's a lot of work. Just putting it on the timeline of the editor is a daunting task, whereas Michael Jordan, you might have a few examples, and I could put that on the timeline and export a 3-minute video. LeBron James, you're talking about hours of examples. I guess I just consider it an extra level of disrespect that someone as douchey as this is going after Michael Jordan.
And I said it at the beginning, I'll say it again. I really want you to think about the series of events that unfolded to lead this guy to finding some obscure tapes in Latvia in order to come up with a lame sample size to try and say something negative about Jordan. And the sad thing is, we all know this would not be happening if Klutch Sports Media wasn't trying to make up for the fact that LeBron James's career falls short. The consistent irony in all of this is that when the LeBron Klutch Sports Media Group goes after Michael Jordan, you end up bringing up a topic that causes those of us who are willing to let things lie wake up and expose LeBron James even further. You know, and these past players want to talk trash about Michael Jordan all of a sudden. You know, after decades of saying he was the GOAT, and then one day they're on some dipshit's podcast saying, no, Michael wasn't actually all that after all, now that I think about it. You know what we do? We go and we look at that player and see just how badly that person got cooked by Michael Jordan. You know, I never, ever would have done a series on Scottie Pippen. I never would have really questioned Scottie Pippen until Scottie Pippen's ludicrous statements. And then I inevitably, looking back at Scottie's career, realized, shit, Scottie was not all he was made out to be. It's funny to hear that Scottie was underappreciated and underrated when you go back and realize, wait a minute, maybe he was overrated. And the ultimate curse that you guys bring upon yourselves is looking even more closely at LeBron James. Whatever flaw or example you can scour by going to some guy in Latvia with VHS tapes to try and poke a hole in Michael Jordan's career, I can unfold upon LeBron James 10 times. No, 20 times. LeBron James doesn't even come close to playing by the NBA rulebook anymore, and it's allowed in order for him to just still be in the league at all. I'll tell you one thing. We didn't have to suffer through seeing Michael Jordan do douchey shit like this. Stop and make sure the world saw how great he thought he was, how in love with himself he was.
So that right there is the end of the video. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.